What's up, y'all? It's me, it's your boy Asmongold, and today I'm going to talk to you guys about different ways to avoid getting ninjalooted. Now, I know, it might be a bit of a surprise, but the reason we're going to be talking about this is, ninjalooting, it used to be an art. It really used to be an art. You used to have to use some crazy brain magic to convince everybody in the raid that, oh, you're not going to take the stuff even though it's on master loot and there's no loot rules, and all this different misdirection and everything like that. And guys, all that is out the window in War with the Draenor, because we're going to be I'm a priest right now. We're going to be dispelling some bullshit. Number one is that Blizzard does not care. They do not care what the raid leader said in raid chat. It doesn't matter. MS over off spec, the MS and then the greater than OS, that means my stuff over your stuff, or other stuff. I guess that would make sense. But yeah, I don't know why it would be your. Anyway, so obviously, it seems like that would be common sense, right? Because everybody knows what MS over OS means. But according to Blizzard GMs and everything like that, it's not good enough. And even if you have everything perfectly clearly defined, enough to where it would stand up in a court of law, they are probably not going to do anything about it. And I've seen multiple screenshots of GMs saying that, we're not really going to arbitrate loot disputes anymore. And I personally think this is a good thing, even though it kind of sucks for some people. But I'd rather them actually spend their time doing something more useful. But anyway, so long story short, guys, it doesn't matter what the raid leader puts in raid chat, in say, or any other form of of communication. It doesn't matter. They won't even use it. Okay. And so, of course, don't for one right now, don't even tell me about the one time. Okay, about the one time, because I've seen another 100 times where it didn't work. So unless you want to be trying to, it's like you got a higher chance of getting the Raven Lord than getting the loot the loot resolution, and so it's not going to happen. Now the next thing, though, this is real cute, and whenever I heard about this, I thought it was funny because it was some people after my own heart. Is people have been trying to say that personal loot gives you on average less loot than master looter. Now this is really cute, all right, and a lot of sneaky raid leaders like to say this. And honestly, of course they're going to promote Master Loot because, while this is sometimes true, the only person that it's always true for, that Master Looter is always going to give them more loot, is the Master Looter. So think about that. Think about who stands to gain here. And make sure that you always either do things, there are different ways. Obviously, I'm going to talk to you guys, before we really, because I have, I wrote out some notes for this, and, I have, on one of the subsection titles, what to watch out for. And before we get down to that, I'm going to tell you guys what you should really do to kind of even going into this. Now, make sure to play with your friends and everything like that. Honestly, you do not want to pug any sort of Blackrock Foundry or Highmall if for no other reason than it's probably going to be full of idiots and you're going to wipe, right? And so try to make friends and try to, establish connections and stuff like that, so you don't even have to make this happen or have to even keep watching this video. And that's probably going to be my main advice. Honestly, I don't even really have much else to say about that. But also another thing is that make sure that if you are going into one of these runs, my personal preference is honestly, well, I never even do pugs, honestly, but my personal preference is I'll either run Master Loot with someone that I know, or I will do a need before greed or something like that. So mages can't roll on plate and everything else like that. But at the same time, you can't. Everybody sees what drops, and so it's pretty much the same as Master Looter. But the Master Looter doesn't really have the arbitration controls that they would with Master Looter. And so anyway, now we'll get into what to watch out for. Now this is real cute. First BOE on reserve. You know what? It's funny. It's funny. Because every time that I join one of those pugs, and did I ever read about it, because I never joined one of those, because I already know what's going to happen, did I read about one of those people, and they join one of these trash farming groups, and the first BOE is on reserve, every single time it seems that the BOE drops, the raid falls apart. Isn't that weird? After the raid leader gets it, and then guess what he's going to do? He's going to reform the group and do it again. You can make don't even watch my Savage Blood guide. Don't even watch farming things and Bastion of Twilight. Just go ninja BOE trash runs, and you're going to make way more gold than anything else. It's ridiculous how much money you can make, and so you got to be watching out for that. So let me tell you something. If you ever see that the first BOE is on reserve and it's a fresh run, okay, it's a ninja run. It's simple. That's what it's going to be. But yeah, another variation of this is that all the BOEs are going to go. They're going to all be rolled out at the end of the raid, just to kind of keep an incentive for people to stay. Now, for one of the reasons why people can use this against you is obviously, like, let's say you've wiped on the same boss for 15 times, and you know you're not going to kill him, right? The lowest you get it to is like 50%, never going to happen, but the raid leader wants everybody to stay, and so obviously people are going to want to leave, but they don't want to leave because they want us to keep the BOEs. And so it forces you into staying, and also on top of that, it seems like every time that it's time to hand out those BOEs, that the raid leader disconnects. That must be a coincidence, right? I don't think so. Now, the next thing we're going to talk about is guild runs. Now, guild runs, now this, honestly, like some people might say, hey, you know, the only runs that I do with aren't master or aren't ninja runs or guild runs, and that's perfectly true. But I mean, this is like you can either get everything, it's like it's either going to go really well or really bad. Now, one thing that we actually used to do back in the day is we would do VOA as a guild, and then most of the people would be in the guild, and then a few people wouldn't be. And so we just take all the stuff, and if somebody else didn't want it who wasn't in the guild, we just didn't give it to them. And so we use those people kind of to help ourselves, and of course it's very selfish, and it's a really shitty thing to do, but at the end of the day, who's got all the perks, right? And so that's how they're going to think about it, and you got to be watching out for that. And so make sure that if there's some sort of guild run or anything like that, just be wary, be wary. I mean, usually like very high-end rating guilds don't really do a lot of that stuff, but even some of those do. And so it's at your own discretion, but it's something to kind of watch out for. But you know, of course, it's not always true. Now, this is one that I actually use myself for a different reason, and it's kind of like any variation of if you do less than, like, let's say 20k DPS, you don't get loot. If you die to, like, let's say trains on Throgar, you don't get loot, or Thogar, you don't get loot. If you die to like Pin Down and Beast or Darmak, you don't get loot, and like all these other different qualifications and different reasons, basically disenfranchising you from getting a chance at the loot rolls. Now, this is very very interesting because usually these arbitrary rules have the goalposts are moved back whenever you actually meet them, and one of their friends is you know, also on the same token as you are. Now, this is, you know, very convenient for them, and of course, because they kind of control the rules, they can move the goalposts as much as they want. There's nothing you can really do about it. And so, like for me personally, I do this because I consider this fair. And so, like, if somebody is really like really underperforming, like they're just playing like dog shit, like I'm not going to give them perps, right? Like I'm not going to shower these people. I'm not giving them a purple shower for for being dead, right? It's not going to happen. And so, of course, like I know that in some people's eyes, they might think that that's unfair. I'm open to debate about that, but personally, that's kind of the way that I do it. But you always want to watch out for that because, again, people are looking for different reasons to kind of not give you loot. And so, if like before even the raid even starts, they're looking for reasons to not give you perps. You know, don't expect a whole lot of perps. And honestly, guys, like you know, sometimes even if you do mediocre, they'll say, well, you didn't really do that well, and this other guy did really, really great. This other guy actually happens to be my friend, did really great, and so he's going to get the gear. How does that work? So anyway, another one is that anybody who's watched my my how-to Ninja Loot guide, you might meet quite a few of those, because that video has like almost 100,000 views. Any sort of, I guess, like ambiguous loot rules. And so example of this is that you know, if you or any sort of, honestly, like anything that isn't, you know, this is how it's going to be, right? And also if they try and misdirect the entire question to begin with. And so if they ignore you, if they kick you out, if they, I mean, there are just a ton of different reasons of ways that they can kind of like misdirect the attention or kind of make you look like an idiot for asking about the loot rules, and, you know, have other people assure you that it's going to be okay, and then, hey, guess what, they're all in the same guild, and then it's not okay. So you got to be really careful about that. And usually, I mean, like, because think about it like this: if everything is above the table, they're just going to tell you how it's going to be, right? It's not a big deal. They're not trying to play any kind of game with you. They're not trying to do anything quick on you. They're just trying to get the run done. And so unless they're just telling you exactly how it's going to be, you probably have got, you might be in a ninja run, okay? And honestly, like any sort of deflection like that, like, you know, talk like, oh, we'll talk about it before the group or before the boss or anything that kind of prolongs the discussion for it, is probably an indication that you might be in a ninja run. Another one, I mean, like, guys, come on, like, let's be real. If you pull the boss and like 5 seconds before you pull the boss, the loot goes to master loot. Come on, bro. I mean, you know that. You know what's going to happen, right? Okay, so let's assume Because I mean, it's happened. It's happened to me. It's happened to everybody. Let's assume you get ninja, okay? And Asmongold, what do I do now? I'm gonna tell you right now. There's not really much you can do. Now, I mean, there's one thing that can sometimes work, and honestly, it usually doesn't. It will work maybe 20% of the time, but 20% of the time is better than zero. Now, what you have to do is that usually, you can trade gold cross server. Now, I did a video about this probably over a year ago. You can cage it. You can learn a pet. It's a BOE pet, and you can learn it into your pet. I don't know, like your pet spell book, and then you can go on another character on another server, brand new character, and cage that pet, and then sell that pet on the BOE on the auction house as a BOE. And of course, you can do that with very expensive pets. And there's a lot of different reasons why you'd want to do that. But one of the reasons is like, so let's say you join a cross-realm group and some guy ninjas your stuff. And a lot of times whenever they ninja stuff, like not everything is really going for them. They're just ninjing that boss, and like one thing was on the boss. And so like let's assume that they don't even need the item, right? And so it's going to be in their best interest. And actually some people who ninja loot stuff look for this and actually invite this to kind of like, they're pretty much like auctioning off the items to get more money out of you. Now, one thing that's also good about this, now we're going to get into, I guess, like some meta stuff here right now, is that a lot of people who are ninjas, like I would say a larger indicative majority of, or I guess like breakdown of people who are ninjas and who aren't ninjas, I think that there are more kids that are ninjas than not, just from my own personal experience, and also because like a lot of like the parts in your brain that kids like we call it like facilitate empathy and other similar emotions, like kind of being able to relate to people. A lot of those don't really develop until like your late teens to early adulthood. And so a lot of these kids that do it, of course that's why they're doing it, is because they don't really care about anybody else. They only care about themselves, very selfish and everything like that. Now, of course, like being a selfish asshole is not age related, of course, but there is a correlation. And so this is not like, okay, everybody who ninja loots is a kid. No, but there's a probability, and I would say you probably want to go for this. Now, another thing is like, it's like, wow, teenagers, whatever, and a lot of them probably have kind of low self-esteem. So it's like, if you compliment them, if you say, hey, you're really good, I respect that you did this, you're a really smart guy for doing this, and you actually compliment them for ninja looting you, for one, it'll throw them off, right? Because they're expecting for people to get mad at them, and then now you're not getting mad at them, you're complimenting them, they don't know what to do, okay? But that probably isn't what's going to happen. What is going to happen is that, that might make them believe that you're kind of on their side, and you'll kind of gain their trust a little bit, and then you can maybe work out some deal with them. Now, one thing that I do, and this is where the pets come in, is that you make a character on the other server, and you kind of you say, hey, I'll give you this pet. Like, let's say a spectral tiger cub, and like those things go for like 50,000 gold, right? And so for an item that somebody isn't even going to use, right? It's almost worth taking the risk of like giving it to this person, because of course, like what I do whenever this happened to me is that I said, well, hey, you already ninja looted this for me, so I'm not really going to trust you with giving you the pet also. And so you use that as kind of like a reason to make them make the first step of this trade. And then as soon as they make the first step, and you can even, like, what you can do is you can make a character on their server, cage the pet and put it in trade with them to show them, yo, this is real, this is a real deal. And like they're looking at a free 30,000 gold on top of the item that they already got. Like, this is going to be, like my kind of a win-win situation where you win twice. But see, this is not how it's going to go. Well, it could be, but that's up to you. Anyway, so as soon as you get them to trade you the BOE or like anyone, it doesn't really matter, because you have the 2-hour window of to trade with any across any server. As soon as you get them to trade that to you, and you can give them the pet, and you can be fair on your word. But if you're not, what are they going to do? You think they're going to report you? They can't. It's like calling the cops because somebody sold you bad pot. Like, it's not going to happen. And so, I mean, like, that's up to you, as I said before. But I think that you guys know what your boy would do. Now, one thing that I do want to mention, I'm going to say this again, is that if you join a trash farming group, like a group that's like just farming for like BRF trash or something like that, if it's on Master Loot, it's a ninja run. It's just that simple. Don't even try and come up with any sort of like, oh, there's this one time. I haven't even heard of this one time, okay? Like, it's never going to happen. Like, so if you're doing a trash run and it's on Master Loot, You're not in a trash run, you're in a ninja run. And so, guys, this is the main thing. And obviously, as I said before, there's not a lot that you can do. There's just not, okay? And the Blizzard just doesn't really have that much built in to stop this. And I personally don't think that they should. I mean, everybody who plays the game, is responsible for themselves, and sometimes bad shit happens, right? I would rather they allocate their resources into making maybe more filters for the selfie camera. Anyway, so I do want to give you guys, like as I said before, like I guess my real advice on like the whole issue itself. Now the main thing is that whenever you do a run and everything goes well, talk to the people who performed well, who seem personable and everything. Get their battle tag and play with them in the future. Because the more people that you play with that the lower the probability is that you're going to have to play with somebody who's a ninja or anything like that. And so it's kind of like you build these relationships, and you're going to be a lot better off in the long run. Now, of course, there's the obvious thing: make your own group. But of course, some people might not really have the time or the expertise to do that. And so really the important thing is make sure that you either run with people that you trust, or you build I guess like a network of people that you do trust and then run with them. And so, guys, as I said before, there's really no way to prevent ninja looting. There's no way. It's not like, oh, if you follow this guide, like this is going to be it. Like there's going to be no problems. No, it's going to happen anyway. It doesn't matter, right? Even I've gotten ninja looted. All right, and I used the thing that I told you guys with the pets, and it worked. So just to let you guys know, it's not like I'm just making this up. So anyway, that's how I would say to avoid getting ninja looted. It's not 100%, but it can be pretty close. And so that's really all I got. I hope this helped you guys. I really do. I hope this helped you guys. There used to be an art of ninja looting, and now there's not. It's just you just take the perps, okay? You just take the perps. And what fun is that? What fun is that? So I guess I'll spare you guys. I make this video, maybe help a few people out on what to watch out for, what to avoid, and how to secure your perps. Anyway, I don't really know another way to put it. That's pretty much all I got. So, thanks for watching, and like, comment, subscribe.